G'day guys, welcome back to episode 2. This one's called The Awakening. I'm just going to explain a little bit on how I got to that exact point, and then I'll go through exactly what happened on the craziest day of my life. Alright, so it all started off by I stumbled across a guy named Billy Carson. Now, his podcast were talking about origins of man. Now, up until that point, I pretty much I believed in evolution. It made sense. I've seen the reports and findings and how close we are with DNA structure to primates and the Neanderthals and all that sort of stuff. So that was where I was pretty certain that's where we came from. Until I started listening to Billy Carson. And then lots of things that he said just resonated with me, and I went, holy shit, this is what actually happened. This is true. We've just another thing that'd been fed to us that was wrong. So he was talking about the Anunnaki. Now, the Anunnaki, the word basically just means people from the skies, I believe. Now, he goes through and he actually started talking about the Sumerian tablets. Now, this is the part that actually drew me in. He studied quantum physicist as well. So having that scientific background also helped with me wanting to listen to him, because I think if I had found someone who just went straight off into everything I know now, I would have gone, fuck off. And I would have walked away and I would have missed out. But so he was coming from a real scientific, educated view. So that I really resonated with him. So I listened. So he started talking about the Sumerian tablets. Now, ancient Sumeria, their tablets predate all existing religions, every single one of them. And when you go through, and I might do a video on the exact tablets and the stories that are written in there, if that's something that you'd like. If not, Billy explains it beautifully well, as do others. But ultimately, all of the stories that every religion has based itself on come from ancient Sumeria. So it's their stories. The difference is, especially when it comes to Christianity, Catholicism, the Romans took those stories, changed the names, changed what it's about, put in their own agendas, twisted it all to control. That's what so the basis of all the religions are beautiful stories, be good and happy and all the things that, we should just be. They're nice ways to live your life. There's nice messages within it, but the stories of the bulk or what the actual stories were about, very, very different. So the Anunnaki were just aliens, basically, beings from not our planet that came to Earth. Now, where the evolution of man was almost right. We did evolve from primates and Neanderthals, and we did have various stages of that. But then we had help to get to what we are today. And not just the Anunnaki, which is what I found, but first things first. I learned that there was the Anunnaki, so I thought it was just one alien race that came and they started talking about, or they started pretty much using their DNA. I'll explain a little bit of the story quickly. So ultimately they came to Earth to mine. They needed gold, and I believe the story was their planet was not doing well. It was maybe going to die, or it was struggling. The gold, they had a way of turning gold into almost like a powdery substance, and they were going to put that in the atmosphere to save it. Now, this is just one lot of stories. I don't know if it's true. Obviously, I wasn't there. But was the first explanation that I got. Now, from the mining of the gold, they had their own people inhabiting the planet. They built up a bit of a civilization, and they were here and they were mining. Now, they got sick of, or their own people got sick of doing all the work. And then, long story short, they apparently took what was pre-man, and then they spliced their DNA. Now, they went through multiple times of doing this and playing around with it to make us, because they need basically slaves to do all the work for them. Now, they did that. And then, I found out now that we've had lots of beings, different aliens come through and splice their DNA with ours and help with us sort of becoming to what we are now. So that was what drew me in. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, cool. So through listening to him and his stories of Atlantis and other ancient civilizations, I ended up signing up to one of his TV channel. It's called Forbidden Knowledge TV. I was just hooked. I wanted to learn more. So I started watching videos, and since then I've watched lots of different videos across lots of other things through his channel, which has been great. And then I've also found other channels and other sources of information, but we'll get there another day. So I stumbled across, I was just doing some work around the house, getting it ready for sale. And I was listening to it was called Reclaim Your Power. And it was a workshop that he did. Now, when you sign up to it, you got access to all his old workshops. So I wasn't watching it live. I was just rewatching old ones. Now, he had a guest named Anton Wisbisky. And he was going to do a guided meditation. Now, this point in time, I'd only tried meditating a couple of times. Didn't really know if I was doing it right. I'd heard I had to quiet my mind. And, if you've ever tried to meditate in the beginning, you know that your mind is anything but quiet. It wants to dart here, wants to dart there, and that's the whole process of quietening it. Now, he started talking about it, and something just resonated with me, and I thought, no, I need to stop what I'm doing and just go and give this a go. It's guided. He's going to I'm thinking he's just going to explain you through it, and that'll be cool. So I ended up locking myself in my bedroom. I was just sitting there on a camp chair, and I had my earphones in, and I just listened. Now, his breath work came up. Now, at this point in time, breath work was very confusing to me. There's so many different types of breath work. Everyone's got different ideas of different types of breath work that does different things. Anyway, Anton talks about the breathing that we're going to do in this meditation was going to simply be in and out through the mouth, which was nothing that I'd heard of yet. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. So I zoned out, put the earpods in, and listen. Now, it was super relaxing, but his idea of the breath work was to get your body into almost like a state where it thought it was going to die, but not really, like with the breathing in and out, because it's not natural, and it gets your body into a certain state. If you want the full explanation, I highly recommend just watch that, and you'll see for yourselves. But I sat there and I enjoyed it, and after about, the whole thing went for an hour and a half, but I reckon about 40 minutes in was when shit got real. He was explaining to do something that I've now found Dr. Joey Dispenza. This is one of a technique that he talks about a lot. Didn't realize at the time, but that's what he was actually guiding us to do. Excuse me. Now, what he was doing was teaching to squeeze the fluid within your spine, starting down low, and basically squeeze it all the way up so that it puts pressure on your pineal gland. Now, your pineal gland's a little part of your brain that's basically made of crystals. It's like your antenna. Now, when you put pressure against it, it creates sparks of energy. That's what this meditation was based around, that I've learned now. Didn't know it at the time, I just listened and did what he said. Now, when I started doing this, something next level happened to me. So all of a sudden, I remember, so my eyes were closed, but I had this vision of this man, and at first I didn't recognize him, but he was just smiling at me, and he had a bit of a longer beard, and he was just smiling at me. I was like, who is this? And then I realized it was me. It was me, about 20 years older, that would be my guess. But he was just smiling at me. He was just happy. And so that was the first bit. Then he sort of vanished. And then all of a sudden, my arms and legs felt like they just started rising. I know it sounds ridiculous, but they just started rising. They felt light, and I just remember my legs and my arms just sort of going up like this, just from the armchair. Just not, I wasn't levitating or nothing, just crazy like that. Just my arms and legs had gone basically just, and then I felt this just ultimate release of energy out the top of my head, and my eyes were welling up, and it was just like it was almost like I was choking on sadness. It was just coming out of me, and my body was like shaking and numb, and it was just nuts. Like, I've done lots of drugs in my time, and anything like this before. And then I remember it sort of getting to a point where I felt like it had all just, it got out of me, if that makes sense. It was just like I was releasing just pure sadness out of me. And I came back into myself, my arms sort of relaxed, my legs relaxed, and I was just buzzing. Like, I just felt happy and pure, like just pure love, pure light. Just, it was flooding my whole body, this feeling. I felt amazing. And I was like, what is going on? Anyway, the meditation comes to an end. And I'm like, okay, I'll get up and carry on painting and doing what I was doing. Now, I felt like I was on a high, but not a high that I'd ever had before. I was walking taller. I just felt happy. And that point, it was that exact day that I was like, I don't want to drink anymore. Like, it happened for me like that. Up until that point, I drank every day for at least 3 years. But I didn't want to. I learned through Billy about the pineal gland and how that is an antenna to the cosmos, to talk to our other beings, to our true selves. Whether wanting to rectify that, because it can become calcified, I was told, and that's through lots of different things. But ultimately, I was so excited about what I'd learned. I thought, no, I need to get this right and me right, and start listening to messages that might be coming my way. So that might have played a big part subconsciously in my drinking as well. Certainly aided it, but that was the last drink I had. Now, that is a couple of months ago now, and where, I guess, it just got to that point where I thought, oh, what will I do around my friendship groups, family that I was often drinking with? But I got there and one day and we had a catch up and I just said, no, I'm not doing it. And they gave me a little bit of shit like I'd expect them to. And then we carried on talking and that was fine. I was like, okay, it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, here I am now. I've also gone a bit further, but you know, I mean, I'm not really eating meat, kind of a little bit at the moment, still trying to figure that side of it out. But basically, when it comes to the drinking, that's completely gone, and I am just super happy. Now, Anton talks about in that meditation, he goes, it might happen, crazy things might happen, crazy things might not happen. Now, I was so hooked on that, what did happen. I was like, whoa, I want to experience this again. So I tried it again a few days later. Now, I was sitting outside at night, just nice night, under the stars, got the camp chair out, sat there. Now, I tried. Now, it didn't work. Nothing happened the way it did the first time. I think I might have even nodded off for a short period of time, maybe 10 minutes or something. I might have just been so relaxed that I just dozed off for a second, then sort of came to and realised it wasn't exactly up to where I thought it was up to, but not so far into it. But anyway, point is, it didn't happen again. It was just a nice, relaxing meditation, which I still feel great about, but just not the same crazy feeling that happened before. Now, since then, I tried it another time, I'd say about another week after, same deal. Felt good, felt relaxed. I mean, you're not doing anything for an hour and a half and it's nice, but again, it wasn't a crazy feeling. Now, I've since found out through doing some Googling, what I had was called a Kundalini awakening. I'd never heard the term before, but that's what I had. Now, once you have this, there's no turning back. Like, there's no going back. That feeling and that knowing of truths, it just changes your whole perspective and outlook, and just makes you jump into that rabbit warren just without fear. You need to know more, you want to know more. And I spent the next I don't know how many weeks, 4 weeks, every day, just watching more content, listening to someone else who would then lead me to someone else, and then would lead me to someone else. I got pulled from pillar to post, little bits of information, and then I'd get hooked on someone, and then I'd go and get the information that I felt I needed, and then they'd start talking about something different that I'm like, I don't think I need to know about that, or I'm not interested in that. And then all of a sudden someone else who would pop up, and I just went like a ping pong ball all over the place. But the funny thing is as I look back, it was so sequential. Like, every little piece, every little nugget, every little crumb that I was following along the way was placed out in front of me deliberately, so that I wouldn't get scared from what I was learning. I wouldn't shut off from what I was learning. So I'm just gonna have a quick drink. It was perfect. The picture, the sequence of it all was perfect. And now it's still laying out perfect. It's just that I've acquired so much base knowledge now that it's really just about diving into the things that I maybe didn't fully comprehend properly. So re-listening to a couple of things to just let it sink in a bit better. But geez, it's been fun. It's been so much fun. Anyway, I think I might leave it there. The next one, my next video will be about my next crazy experience that happened. Not another Kundalini awakening, but still something nuts on the day that I met my now life coach. I wanted to seek out hypnotherapists to maybe have a look at maybe some past lives, because that had piqued my interest. So that's what drew me to her. And then I continued seeing her for so many other reasons. But I'll cover that on another one. So yeah, thanks for coming. Peace, light, and high frequencies. Bye for now.